Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Jeff, and we're going to cover a topic today. We're gonna let our hair down a little bit. It's a topic that I've been giving some thought. Actually, not just recently. I've been giving a thought for many years. I've had my suspicions, and I'm excited to do this video, but I also know it's going to be met with a lot of criticism as well. And I think that if we were to be able to take a pool of the people that buy into these theories, I would say that the majority of the people that would buy into these theories have been on eBay 5 years or more. If you've been on eBay 5 years or less, you're more likely to disagree and think all of this is rubbish. So let's get into it a little bit. And I want to preface this, that this is a summer slowdown, so this is the time to kind of reflect and take a look and challenge ideas and speculate and have conversations and share. Why not, right? That's why we're here. Ever since I've started this channel, I've been able to engage with some awesome people, and we've shared and bounced ideas, and this topic has even come up in the comment section a number of times. So we're basically going to be discussing, does eBay cap your sales? Now, a lot of people just flat out believe that that's the case, but the opposing side of that is, why would they do that? Why would eBay want to cap your sales? Aside from the admitted, I guess. So I was watching Josh Gate last week, and he actually commented on the fact that eBay, and so again, everything that I'm about to say is either secondhand or my own original suspicions, I guess you can say. But Josh was saying that how eBay does cap sales of resellers who experience significant growth, and they do that to make sure that that reseller is able to fulfill the orders, that they don't get too big too fast. Now, I did not know that. I had never heard that. I don't know where he got that information. It sounded as if it was just factual, and I feel like I might have heard that before. So maybe that is factual. I don't know. Okay, so this was actually a new addition to my reasons. So I've got two auxiliary reasons, and then I have like the main reason why I speculate that eBay could potentially cap sales. Now, I want to start off by saying that I am a huge fan of eBay. Like, I love everything about the concept of eBay. I love that it enables people with no special skills, just some motivation to go on, create an account, look around your house, see that you've got something that you no longer need anymore. You can throw it up on eBay and sell it. Or you can create a business out of that as well. Like, I love everything that eBay stood for, I guess is the best way for me to put it. I don't know if they truly stand for that now. Yes, reselling is changing. And that's a whole nother topic. That's not what this is about. This is just my thoughts, my theoretical thoughts based on my own personal experience as a reseller, as a long-time reseller. I've been on the platform for 12 years. I've been full-time for 8. 8 is when when we opened up my wife's second store. I want to say way back then, I was starting to wonder if they capped sales or how a second store would impact my earnings. So this isn't something that has just come around over the last couple years. This is something that I've thought about for a very long time, and I feel that it's time to kind of put some things out there, and let's see if we can have a conversation. And whether I almost kind of want to do something a little different with this video in terms of like thumbs up, thumbs down, if you guys are game for it. Now, thumbs up this video if after hearing all the reasons, if you think the one or more of these could be theoretically possible, meaning, or probable, even possible, just possible. If you think every single reason is just complete trash, thumbs down. Like, you're entitled to that opinion. Thumbs down, and in the comment section, don't just say things like, spend your time listing, don't spend your time thinking. Like, if we don't think critically and think and put ideas out there, then what's the point of anything, right? Like, the world we live in as a reseller is a very closed off world. And one of the advantages of the internet is we can share, we can, collaborate and talk about our experiences and kind of confirm or deny and kind of, get a big picture overall of kind of what's going on. If we're just in our own little bubble, we have no power, right? Okay, so one could easily say, what's the point of this video, right? It's just all theory. It's just your speculations. But I think it's important to be aware of this concept, number one. If you're a new reseller and you're having some success and you think that, if you have 500 listings and you make this amount, well, if you have 5,000 listings, I'm going to 10 times my earnings. That's just not going to happen. You'll see. It's not going to happen. And I think it's important for us to share our experiences to kind of get an overall picture of where, we all stand and what other people are experiencing. I mean, I've even spoke to an eBay representative who was also a seller herself. And I asked if she had ever, or not if she had ever, but does she field many questions in regards to do they cap your growth? And she said, yeah, she does get lots of people calling in and asking that. And she even believes that herself. And I found that kind of surprising that she would admit that on a call. So the first auxiliary reason is to spread the wealth around. So let me explain this concept. So I used to play, my wife and I, during the pandemic, we used to play a lot of poker, online poker. It was a free site, meaning it was free to play, but you had to buy chips to play. Now, it wasn't, you couldn't win money. It was essentially just, a social app. So you could either win the chips and then you didn't have to buy any chips, or you would buy chips. So I never bought chips. And I'm not even that great at poker. But if you I'm that tight with my money that I did not want to buy fake poker chips. Now, and it was a good time. It got us through the pandemic. We met lots of people around the world. Some of them are still our friends, and it was awesome. And I still play once in a while. I don't really have the time anymore. But there is something on this site that happens, and so you level up as the more time and the more hands that you play. And so once you got over 50, 60, or 70, you were considered, seasoned. Inevitably, everybody on the whole site, it was just a known fact that new people on the app, new to the game, they're always going to catch something on the river. if you go all in before the flop, so if you go, for those of you who don't play poker, if you push all your chips in and you basically make a bet with all the money that you have pre-flop against somebody who is significantly newer than you, 90% of the time the new person wins. And the reason this happens, it's all about money. Everything in here is about, it's all about money. That's what it boils down to. But the poker site favors new people. Now, why? Why do they favor new people? Because they want to get them hooked. They want to get them playing. They want to get them winning. They want to get them hooked in so they buy chips when they ultimately lose all their chips. Right? Now, the older people who are level 60 or above, they're already invested. They're already playing. All their friends are there. If they lose all their chips, they're going to buy more chips. But the site wants to hook the newbies in so they stay and they ultimately buy chips, which is ultimately the same thing that you're going to see with eBay. They want to get these new sellers making money, seeing, items sell, so they stay on the platform. I mean, we joke that a lot of times we feel that eBay doesn't really care about sellers, but to some degree they have to, because if there are no sellers on the platform, then there is no platform. In a way, eBay is like the Matrix. Like, it's not real. It's just this made up marketplace. eBay doesn't make anything. They just take. They literally just feed off of its sellers. I mean, it's the perfect analogy. eBay is the Matrix. I mean, I am a big fan of the series. But it just takes and it takes and it feeds off its sellers. And why are we amazed with promoted listings? It's just another way they're feeding off of us. We act like we're surprised, but we shouldn't be surprised, because this is all what they've been doing since day one, right? I'm okay. The promoted listings it's a line in the sand that I feel eBay crossed. I was okay with every other fee that we paid. But I believe that the promoted listings are gonna be the reason that going forward, small resellers are gonna be phased out. And you're gonna see the monopolization of reselling. This is a concept I believe is worth more future discussions about. But having smaller resellers getting phased out because ad fees are too high, this is gonna be a massive problem. But that's not what this video is about. So spreading the wealth around is the first kind of like auxiliary reason, I guess I want to say, is yeah. So we'll move on. One other aspect to a new seller is, in theory, just as a new listing has better placement in eBay search, it is possible that newer sellers possibly see higher searches, higher placement in the search. Something to consider. I don't know. Again, all of this stuff is just me giving some thought to the question, why would eBay want to cap earnings, right? And so longer term sellers who see sluggish growth, even though their total listings have doubled, or in some cases more. I mean, I know James over at My Boring Reseller Life, he has over 50,000 listings, and he time and time again talks. I mean, he doesn't speculate about eBay capping earnings. He just constantly is saying how his earnings are not proportionately growing. In fact, when you consider fees and how they're growing and how shipping is continuing to go up, in a way, we're actually not only are we not growing proportionately, but we're kind of going backwards a little bit, if you think about it. But like, for example, so the second part, I guess the second auxiliary reason, and this one I don't necessarily know the why. I can speculate on it. But eBay knows long-term, well, I shouldn't say eBay knows this, but eBay understands that, yes, sellers will leave the platform. Sellers have left the platform. A lot of sellers have left the platform lately. But they also know that there will be, myself included, like I haven't left the platform. I have no intentions of leaving the platform. And that's part of human nature, is that we resist change on some level. So we keep listing. We see a lull in our business, or we see that our business isn't where it is. So now you've got these new sellers that have come in that are listing. They're excited, they're motivated, they've seen sales, and then you've got the more experienced sellers who just keep listing. And that's kind of been my mantra, is just keep listing, and everything will work out. And to some degree, I still believe that, but to some degree, I also think sometimes it just feels like our listings just disappear, aren't seen. So it's like, is it really the best thing to do? But it's possible that is exactly what eBay wants us to do when we see a lull in sales, is just keep listing. So maybe for optics' sake, maybe it benefits eBay if they have X amount of items listed. Maybe for optics, it looks good to eBay. It looks good for them to be like, to their buyers. Or I haven't really thought this one out, but I do know that capitalism is about expansion. It's not about retraction. It's about things always getting bigger. And so if eBay is, well, let me back up a second. So like I said, I used to think that if I just keep listing, the money will come. And I also used to have this kind of like mindset that if I keep listing and I keep growing my store, if I needed to have money, if a sudden expense came up, I could just run a really aggressive sale and I will be able to generate revenue that way quickly. Get it up, get it listed, get it out there for people to be seen. And then, if I need to generate money, then I can just run an aggressive sale. So that could also be something that eBay thinks about as well, right? If lots of buyers are not continually listing, which we all know, we're all told, list every day, right? List every day, list every day, list every day. Feed the machine, feed the algorithm, feed Cassini, right? So that is like something that is almost ingrained. And to be honest with you, I don't list every day. I haven't listed anything today, I don't think. I spent today packaging and did a little bit of sourcing and spent some time with my wife. Like, I don't list every day. But it's possible that eBay thinks along those same lines, and so that could be another reason why they suppress earnings a little bit, is to kind of like motivate us to list more, so it looks good. Maybe it looks good to their shareholders. Maybe it's like, just having that expansion of a website is just an optic that they want to have. I need to pause this. Okay, so I've got a bunch of notes, so I'm trying to, as I talk, make sure I get everything. And so those were the two auxiliary reasons. I think I pretty much covered everything. Is to give new sellers a hook so that they stay on the platform and to list, and then also to keep the website expanding, to keep it positive optics for, and this one's a little spotty. I don't quite know. I think there's something there, but let's get to what I believe is the main reason that they cap sales. If you haven't guessed it by now, it has to do with the stock market. It has to do with earnings. Remember, everything is about money. We are in a capitalist society. It's all about the money. It always comes down to the money. Everybody always talks about, when somebody is saying something negative about eBay, they're talking about the changes that they're making or what they're doing in terms of fees. You always hear it being talked about. It's to please the shareholders, Now, in this day and age, we have forecasters, we have algorithm, we have AI, we have analysts that are constantly monitoring growth for companies. Now, again, this is just speculation. This is just one man normally talking to myself, and now I'm talking to you guys, and I want to say I thank you for listening and humoring me. I do appreciate it. But we know our sales come in waves, and even more obscure waves now. Like, I thought it was kind of weird how sales would come in waves before, but now it's like no sales, $700, sparse sales over the weekend. It feels manufactured on some level. I don't know, maybe it's normal, but sales in general do come in waves. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a fact if you're in retail. And eBay is no longer, at one time it was considered an internet stock, like a tech stock. It was, back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, it was lumped in the internet stock category. It was one that was like seeing unprecedented growth. Now it's more like a blue chip stock. And it's more like a Walmart. It's more like a Boeing. It's a blue chip stock. And eBay knows that they have to show year over year, quarter over quarter, they have to show growth in their earnings so their stock goes up, so their shareholders are appeased. So, and this is kind of where the second auxiliary reason comes into play, is if you have a site that is constantly expanding, you can monitor your earnings per quarter inside that quarter to know when to open the floodgates and when not. If it's, January, February, March is the first quarter, and, you're coming up on the end of February, and March is your next last month of that quarter, to try to, get your profit up so your earnings are gonna look better. It's not outside the realm of possibility that they take the throttle off. Vice versa. If the January and February were gangbusters, and you don't want to have too much growth in March because you want some of that growth to come into the next quarter, you could throttle back a bit. I mean, eBay has so many glitches. Now, okay, let me just say this. eBay either caps our earnings, or they don't know how to run a website without glitches. They don't know how to operate a proper website, glitch-free. And neither of those are acceptable. Right? Like, neither of those are acceptable. So, getting back to the main theory is, eBay wants to smooth out the highs and the lows of their earnings, so they show consistent growth. They don't want all their growth to come in the first and second quarter, and then their third and fourth quarter. I mean, obviously the fourth quarter is never going to do. I'm just saying. I'm giving you an example. So they want to smooth that out a little bit. And so if their site is constantly expanding by the other reasons that I had mentioned, people are continuing to list. The worst thing that could happen to eBay is if people leave the platform and they stop listing and they stop, putting up items. Like, that retraction of items for sale is one of the absolute worst things that can happen, because if they don't have those items to sell, they don't have any way to generate income. And that's going to be bad if that happens. So that's what's going to be super interesting to see how this next earnings report plays out. Because if they couldn't turn a decent profit by, sucking those promoted listing fees out of us, had they not done that, how bad would their earnings have been? So, what do you guys think? Are these reasons completely so outlandish that none of them could potentially even be remotely true? Or could some of them be true? And let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your experiences are as a, and also when you're leaving comments, it would be helpful if you started 6-year eBayer here, and then talk about your experiences, and so other people can kind of either relate or share their experience. And yeah, I'm very interested to see the conversations that come about from this. I don't expect. Let me just say, I expect a lot of people to just disregard all of these as just conspiracy theory, but they're just me thinking, as when someone asked, but why? I believe they phrased it like, I can see how this is possible, but why would eBay want to do this? Well, I'm giving you 3 reasons why, and they all come down to money. They all come down to expansion. They all come down to, shareholders, which all of that makes total sense to me. So I'm excited to see the dialogue that ensues from this. And thanks for watching, guys. If you're still here and you like this information and you found it useful and you're excited to, please give that subscribe button, feed that YouTube algo, and we will talk to you soon.